Magomed Ankalaev versus Ion Cutelaba 2. The rematch takes place this weekend on the main card of UFC Fight Night Vegas 8, Smith versus Rakic. And who cares about any other fight on this card other than this one? This is the rematch we have been waiting for months now. It was originally supposed to be immediately rescheduled. It took a while because of the whole sneezing situation around the world that's going on right now, but we finally had it rebooked. I'm so glad this matchup has been rebooked because my prediction is the same as the first time. I think Ion Cutelaba wins this one by first round TKO. I don't care what people are going to tell me about the first fight. Oh, Ankalaev finished him in the first round. I still believe that people have not even seen the first fight because the odds have changed. So the odds makers watched the first fight between Ion Cutelaba and Magomed Ankalaev and decided to give Magomed Ankalaev more of a favourite status, which makes zero sense to me whatsoever because we literally didn't see a fight. I don't know if anyone's seen my video. It's the most viewed video on my channel, by the way. I don't mind plugging that every now and again. It's got about 50,000 views on my channel. I broke down the entire situation in slow-mo, so if you want to check that out after this one to believe what I'm saying right now, like, Ankalaev literally didn't land a single clean shot on Ion Cutelaba whatsoever. He was faking it the entire time. I feel like we're all in agreement here, but for some reason, people still seem to be picking Ankalaev and they seem more confident in him than they were before, which makes no sense whatsoever. You know what I saw in the first fight between Cutelaba and Ankalaev? I saw Cutelaba come out, land a leg kick, land a head kick, land a straight right hand, land an oblique kick, then fake that he was hurt and landed big shots in that exchange as well. In that entire exchange of chaotic autism, Ion Cutelaba was able to block every kick, avoid every punch other than one or two, I believe, that barely landed on Cutelaba's face. Throw back and land the final shot of the fight, which was a clean fadeaway left hook counter, check left hook, right to the side of the temple of Magomed Ankalaev at the end of the fight. Ion Cutelaba landed the best shot of the fight, and he got the fight stopped as with him as the loser. It makes no sense. I have no idea why the fight was stopped to this day. I still believe that Ion Cutelaba is going to go out there, be the faster starter, thrive in the current situation of no crowd and get the job done in the first round, KOing Magomed Ankalaev. Now, I know a lot of people don't like my predictions against Dagestani fighters. I'm sorry, they just sometimes seem to lose, so I can pick against some of them. Now, I am going to be picking some of them, like I'm picking Khabib over Gaethje. I have no problem picking Dagestani fighters, but they can lose. I seem to get a lot of dislikes on my videos for just pointing out the obvious statement that Dagestani fighters can lose. And if you tell me that Magomed Ankalaev isn't going to lose this one and can't lose, well, he lost to Paul Craig. And I'll tell you this about the Paul Craig fight. That was completely remembered wrong as well. I don't know why people are doing this. You watch the Paul Craig fight again, don't get me wrong. Magomed Ankalaev was on his way to winning that matchup, but it gets told and remembered as if Magomed Ankalaev was completely dominating Paul Craig. That was not the case. Paul Craig was on the feet with Magomed Ankalaev for a very long time during that contest without being KO'd. Paul Craig was on the feet with a young striker in Magomed Ankalaev that's supposed to be this phenom and wasn't getting KO'd and was landing some okay shots back. Also in that fight, Paul Craig shot takedowns and completed takedowns against Magomed Ankalaev. Now, Magomed Ankalaev had some moment on bottom and then he reversed things and got on top towards the end of some of those rounds. It was not dominance. There were many moments in that fight between him and Paul Craig that were very close, and then not to mention the Dalchalungi and Bula fight. Don't get me wrong. Good win from Magomed Ankalaev. It wasn't entire domination, like he was doing good, winning the fight, don't get me wrong, and he landed a big shot in the third round to finish off Dalchalungi and Bala. I'm not saying that Magomed Ankalaev is not impressive. I'm just saying that Ion Cutelaba, to me, beats him and KOs him in the first round because it wasn't too long ago, only a couple years ago, where Galti Hermadantigulov, same kind of guy, lot of hype behind him, 20-4, I believe on a 14-fight win streak against amazing competition outside of the UFC, comes into the UFC, meets Ion Cutelaba and gets KO'd in the first round. Like, I just feel like Ion Cutelaba in this current situation where it's a smaller cage, everything's on the line, there's a bunch of tension, they've got bad blood, it's a bit of a grudge match right now because Ankalaev still seems to believe that the stoppage was justified, as he said after their contest, which makes no sense. He knows full well he landed no shots on Cutelaba whatsoever. I do believe that Ion Cutelaba is going to go out there and get the job done, and the odds are a disgrace. I believe I saw the odds as, like, I don't even know what the odds were. I believe Ion Cutelaba was close to like a 3-1 underdog. It made no sense whatsoever when I looked at the odds. I'm picking Ion Cutelaba. I genuinely think this is 50-50. I think Ion Cutelaba is going to go out there, have the power, be more switched on in the first round, which we are seeing recently is really having a benefit for a lot of people. In the smaller cage, there's less places to avoid. You know, there's less footwork to be done. There's less dancing around and pumping a jab and then using your footwork to escape certain situations. The strikers that are switched on early seem to be doing really well at the moment and coming out there all guns blazing. I think Ion Cutelaba is going to do the exact same thing. I don't think he's going to fake being injured this time. If he does fake being injured, then he's just on a different level IQ-wise, because if there's one thing that Magomed Ankalaev will not expect going into this one is that Ion Cutelaba is going to risk wobbling and faking being wobbled all over again, because, you know, you could risk Kevin McDonald being the referee and jumping in immediately, which made no sense whatsoever. No punches landed. Go back and watch my video after this video is over. It's on my channel. Go to most popular videos. It should be the top one on the list. I slow-mode everything. I called the referee a paedophile as well, so Take bits and pieces out of that where you can, because a lot of it was just abuse towards the referee. But I slow-mode everything. Ion Cutelaba was... He entered the Matrix! He literally entered the Matrix and showed striking that we've never seen from him before. Not to mention, the fight before that one, Khalil Roundtree, he went out there and dominated Khalil Roundtree in that first round. Now, Khalil Roundtree landed a few good inside leg kicks, but it wasn't too long before Ion Cutelaba got a hold of him and just started pounding... Do we not remember this? He's great at wrestling. I don't know who would win a fight between Paul Craig and Khalil Roundtree. I'd bet there's a good chance Khalil Roundtree KOs Paul Craig on that chinny chin chin. Now, I know that Paul Craig is El Cliffy and his powers only seem to work against Dagestani fighters. He's got 2 of them in triangles so far. But I feel like Ion Cutelaba is going to go out there. I think he's criminally underrated in that division right now. 26 years of age compared to the 28 of Magomed Ankalaev. Both guys are going to be improving, but Ion Cutelaba, 26 years of age with the experience advantage. The shorter guy with an equal reach as well. It's harder to close the distance in the striking when you're a taller guy with the same reach as a shorter guy, because you've got to get on the inside as a taller guy, which tends not to work too well. Ion Cutelaba is going to go out there, get the job done. I just value so much every single time I watch a Cutelaba fight how patient he is in the first round. And I know he's had some losses. He lost to Glover Teixeira, but you know what? Before I looked at that and thought, oh, you lost to Glover Teixeira, you must be trash. All of a sudden, everyone's losing to Glover Teixeira. Nikita Krylov, Anthony Smith, and to be fair, Anthony Smith never had a moment where he was almost finishing Glover Teixeira like Ion Cutelaba did. You know, Anthony Smith literally did not much of anything in the first round other than some pitter-patter striking, and then Glover Teixeira just took over and mauled him from that point onwards. At least Ion Cutelaba went out there, landed a spinning back fist, had Glover Teixeira in all kinds of trouble, beating the paste out of him in the first round, absolutely annihilating him before throwing a front kick, slipping on his back, winding himself, and completely gassing out. And that's actually what happened, by the way, if you go back and watch that fight. I'm not saying Colby Covington slipped on a banana peel like he says he did against Kamaru Usman. We all saw the punches land. But I'm saying that Ion Cutelaba in that matchup with Glover Teixeira, go back and watch it again. He does start slowing down, but we've seen Ion Cutelaba go 3 rounds before. And then he throws a front kick, slips off of his rear leg, lands flat on his back, and it's over from there. Go back and watch that fight. Ion Cutelaba, I feel like, is going to get the job done. I like the underdog pick. I think this is the best underdog on the card. And recently on cards, things just seem to be making no fucking sense. So if this underdog can't work, I don't know how fucking Trevin Jones can beat Timo Valiev on a card. That makes no sense. I'm going with Ion Cutelaba. I genuinely think he gets the job done. I think he should be a favourite. Ankalaev got ranked after that performance against Cutelaba. Nothing happened! Nothing happened! He didn't win a fight. This isn't a rematch where Ankalaev won the first one. No fight occurred. The odds got wider apart. Ankalaev became ranked. It doesn't make any sense. I'm Team Cutelaba. I have been from the beginning. I was doubting myself here, there, and everywhere. But the more I watch Magomed Ankalaev's fights, the more I realize, hang on a second here, this guy does not dominate every single opponent he faces. He actually comes into quite a bit of adversity here, there, and everywhere. Then also in a Clidson, look at some of the wins on his career. Like Marcin Prachnio. We just saw him get KO'd in the first round by Mike Rodriguez. You know, we just watched that happen. I don't know how much I value that win. And you look at a win over Clidson Farias Diabriu. 14-2 at the time. Took him to a unanimous decision. Okay, you couldn't finish Clidson Farias Diabriu. You couldn't finish Paul Craig. If there was a fight between Ion Cutelaba and Paul Craig, I'm picking Cutelaba by first round KO 100%. No denying that whatsoever. And then you look at Clidson Farias Diabriu. Went on to lose to... You're talking about a guy in Clidson here who went to a decision with Magomed Ankalaev. Did lose, but, you know, didn't do too badly. And then Jamal Hill goes out there and finishes him immediately in the first round. I can't deny those things. I think Ion Cutelaba's going to go out there, get the job done against Magomed Ankalaev, and then move on up the division. And if he does win this matchup, in my opinion, this is the people's main event right now. And I'm so excited for this matchup. I don't think you guys understand. I've watched so many fights between the pair of them. I think that Ion Cutelaba gets it done. And I'll say this again. Go back and watch the first fight. I think Ion Cutelaba won it. For all of the moments that happened in Cutelaba versus Ankalaev, I think Ion Cutelaba won it. He went out there, landed a kick, landed a straight right on the neck of Ankalaev. Then he landed a good kick again. I believe it landed somewhat in the arms though, which for some reason seems to count as a strike, I've just figured out, which makes no sense whatsoever. Things on the arms are on the arms. I know they also really, really hurt when they're on the arms, and sometimes, maybe it's because the foot connected round the back of the arms, but you know what I'm trying to say here, guys. I don't think Magomed Ankalaev's going to go out there and beat Ion Cutelaba, and I just don't see it happening, because when you look at Magomed Ankalaev's fight with Clidson Farias Diabriu, as I said, Magomed Ankalaev won that fight, but Clidson Farias Diabriu outstruck him in round 2, barely got outstruck in round 1, you know? I know Magomed Ankalaev got a knockdown in that fight and a takedown as well to secure some of those rounds, but this is what I'm telling you guys. Just because the result of the fight says something does not mean the fight is an immediate win with nothing. Like, just because it's a unanimous decision win does not make it dominant. Robert Whittaker can win a unanimous decision against Darren Till. It was still a razor close fight. You've got to look at the contents of the fights that you're looking at. And then with Magomed Ankalaev, things just seem to get too close against guys that I think he should be destroying. And I've seen that against explosive guys with Clidson Farias Diabriu. Jamal Hill goes out there and annihilates him. Ion Cutelaba is another one of these guys that starts so fast. They're in a smaller cage. He's the younger guy who's going to be improving more rapidly. He was ready to step up again. That's another thing I want to point out here. When the first fight got reassigned and the whole situation around the world where everyone was sneezing all of a sudden happened, I don't want to say it because I don't want to get demonetized, but the situation where everyone was sneezing was happening. Ion Cutelaba versus Magomed Ankalaev got cancelled. Ion Cutelaba was the one looking for another opponent. You know, I know Magomed Ankalaev obviously was in Russia, but Ion Cutelaba ain't in a better situation, you know? He was looking for a matchup with OSP. Then it got brought back around to fight Magomed Ankalaev again. I just think that Ion Cutelaba goes out there switched on like he always is. Plays the little mind games at the start. And I think with all of the bad blood and all of the heat between them, and with the weigh-in stare down probably going to go the way of Ion Cutelaba getting straight in his face and trying to scare him and put that in his head. And then at the start of the fight, Ion Cutelaba's got another chance to get in Magomed Ankalaev's head again and go out there and get in his face and probably create another awkward situation where Ankalaev has to throw Ion Cutelaba off of him, which I've never seen before in MMA. And then Ion Cutelaba's going to go out there switched on and get the first round KO. I genuinely believe that. I think he gets it done. And if he does win this one, the winner of Paul Craig versus Shogun Rua 2, the winner of some other matchups in that division, Ryan Spann is taking on Johnny Walker. The winner of that one, especially if it's Johnny Walker, is probably going to need one more name before he starts getting another jump up the rankings. He is on a bit of a loss streak right now. Good matchups to make in the light heavyweight division. I think Ion Cutelaba goes out there, gets it done, first round KO, and I know exactly how he does it. I think Magomed Ankalaev's gonna get lured into a brawl. Not quite the same way. I don't think Ion Cutelaba's gonna do the whole wobbling thing where he tries to fake it and then the ref's gonna get all antsy. I think he's gonna start throwing hard with Magomed Ankalaev and he's gonna clip him in the exchange, because one thing we saw is even while Cutelaba was finding a way to put on the best acting performance we've ever seen in the octagon, Oscar-worthy performance from Ion Cutelaba, he was still entering the matrix, blocking and dodging almost everything that Ankalaev threw, and landed the better shots of the fight on the break. He's not going to be swinging like he was in the last fight, like a fucking... It was almost like he was throwing power shots from Skyrim, if anyone's ever played that game, where you just fucking load it up and then boom, throw it as hard as you can. It was a pretty reckless stuff. I don't think he's going to do it to that level again. I can see him luring Ankalaev into a brawl, starting to swing a little bit heavy. And then who knows, maybe Ion Cutelaba goes for a takedown early, because listen, Paul Craig was able to do it. You know? He's not Superman. He's Dagestani. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button there. I'll see you later. I genuinely feel like Cutelaba's going to fuck him up. And I hope it happens too, because I'm a big fan of Cutelaba. But if Magomed Ankalaev goes out there and gets it done early, and gets it done in good fashion, we got another one on our hands, because I think that Cutelaba is by far the toughest test of Magomed Ankalaev's career. Because when you really look at things, Clitson Fariastiabriu at the time, not the most well-respected guy in the division. I believe that was his debut. Yes, his debut in the UFC was against Magomed Ankalaev. Not to mention another one of Magomed Ankalaev's fights against Dalchalungi and Bula. Debut in the octagon after beating, Daquan. Oh, sorry. My bad. I forgot about his performance against Daquan Townsend. 21-8 in the UFC. My bad, guys. I forgot about that one. But it was his second performance in the UFC. I don't think Magomed Ankalaev has fought the kind of guy with the experience in the octagon that Ion Cutelaba has. He's been in the UFC for I don't know how many fights now. It feels like it's been a very long time. Let me just check real quick. We've seen... Wow, he actually has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fights in the octagon now to date. I think he's going to go out there with the experience, under the current circumstances, like a savage, and get it done in the first round. Ion Cutelaba gets it done. Team CT Hulk. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. Click that button there. See you later.